What if everything you thought you knew about Lucifer's rebellion against God was wrong? Deep in the highlands of Ethiopia, ancient monasteries guard scriptures that tell a completely different story. These texts predate many Western Christian traditions by centuries. They speak of fallen angels in ways that would shock most believers today. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church holds secrets that challenge the very foundation of how Christianity understands evil itself. Their manuscripts, written in the ancient Ge'ez script, contain theological perspectives that mainstream Christianity has never embraced. Some of these texts suggest that what we call Lucifer's fall may never have happened at all. This isn't speculation. This is documented history hiding in plain sight. The story begins in the kingdom of Axum during the 4th century. King Ezana ruled over one of the most powerful civilizations of the ancient world. His kingdom controlled trade routes between Rome and ancient India. Gold flowed through Axumite ports. Merchants from across 3 continents gathered in his markets. But something even more precious than gold was taking root in Ezana's kingdom. Christianity was arriving in Ethiopia through channels that bypassed Rome entirely. The Ethiopian eunuch mentioned in Acts chapter 8 had already planted seeds decades earlier. Philip the evangelist baptized this Ethiopian treasurer on the road from Jerusalem to Gaza. The eunuch returned to his homeland carrying scripture and faith. By Ezana's time, this Ethiopian Christianity had developed its own distinct character. It drew heavily from Coptic traditions in Egypt. It incorporated Jewish practices that other Christian communities were abandoning. Most importantly, it preserved ancient texts that were disappearing elsewhere. The conversion of King Ezana around 330 CE marked a turning point. Unlike Constantine's political Christianity in Rome, Ezana's conversion seemed deeply personal. Ancient coins from his reign tell the story in metal. Early coins bear pagan symbols. Later coins display the cross. The transformation wasn't just personal, it was imperial. Under Ezana's protection, Christian monasteries began flourishing across the Ethiopian highlands. Monks arrived from Egypt and Syria. They brought manuscripts. They brought theological traditions that predated the Council of Nicaea. Most importantly, they brought perspectives on divine beings that would later be deemed heretical in other parts of Christianity. The monastery of Debre Damo became one of the most important centers of learning. Founded in the 6th century by Abuna Aragawi, one of the 9 saints who spread Christianity throughout Ethiopia, the monastery sits atop a flat-topped mountain, accessible only by rope. For over 1,500 years, monks have climbed that rope to preserve ancient wisdom. Inside Debre Damo's walls, scribes copied manuscripts in Ge'ez. This ancient Semitic language became the liturgical tongue of Ethiopian Christianity. Unlike Latin in the West, Ge'ez remained alive in daily worship. The manuscripts copied here included texts that never made it into the biblical canon elsewhere. The Book of Enoch provides the first major revelation. While this text was rejected by most Christian communities, Ethiopian Christianity embraced it as canonical scripture. The Book of Enoch tells a detailed story of fallen angels called the Watchers. But here's where it gets interesting. In Ethiopian tradition, these Watchers weren't originally evil. According to the Ge'ez version of Enoch, the Watchers were sent to earth by God to teach humanity. They taught agriculture, metalworking, astronomy, and medicine. They taught women about cosmetics and jewelry. They taught men about warfare and weapons. The problem wasn't rebellion against God. The problem was loving humanity too much. They took human wives. They had children called the Nephilim. They revealed divine secrets that humanity wasn't ready to understand. Their sin wasn't pride or rebellion. It was compassion that violated cosmic order. They fell not because they hated God, but because they loved humanity more than they feared divine law. This interpretation turns the traditional narrative upside down. In Western Christianity, Satan's fall resulted from prideful rebellion. In Ethiopian tradition, the fallen angel's mistake was excessive love. The theological implications are staggering. If angels didn't fall through pride, what does that mean for understanding evil's origin? The Church of Saint Mary of Zion in Aksum holds even deeper secrets. This church claims to house the original Ark of the Covenant. While scholars debate this claim, the church undoubtedly contains manuscript collections spanning over a millennium. These texts include unique versions of biblical books found nowhere else. The Ethiopian version of the Book of Jubilees offers the second major revelation. This text, also considered canonical only in Ethiopia, describes the angelic hierarchy in detail. According to Jubilees, there are 7 levels of angels serving God. Each level has specific responsibilities. Each level has different relationships with humanity. Crucially, the Ethiopian Jubilees describes Satan not as a fallen archangel, but as an angel who never fell at all. Instead, Satan remains in his original position as the tester of human faith. His role isn't to rebel against God, but to fulfill God's purpose by testing human devotion. Every temptation, every trial, serves divine purpose. This understanding aligns with the Book of Job, where Satan appears among the sons of God before the divine throne. But Ethiopian tradition takes this further. Satan's testing isn't punishment for rebellion, it's his eternal assignment. He serves God by providing the resistance necessary for spiritual growth. The implications shake the foundation of Western theology. If Satan never fell, if his opposition serves divine purpose, then evil isn't rebellion against God. Evil becomes a necessary component of creation itself. This perspective predates Augustine's theology by centuries. It offers an alternative understanding that mainstream Christianity never seriously considered. The monastery of Waldeba provides the third revelation. Founded in the 14th century, Waldeba preserved manuscripts that disappeared elsewhere during the Islamic conquests. Among these texts, the Ge'ez version of the Testament of Solomon describes demons and fallen spirits differently than other traditions.
According to the Ethiopian Testament, demonic beings aren't fallen angels at all. They're a separate creation designed to test and strengthen human souls. They were never in heaven. They never experienced divine presence. They were created for their specific purpose from the beginning. This understanding eliminates the tragedy of fallen angels altogether. There's no cosmic rebellion, there's no war in heaven, there's no fall from grace. Instead, there's a carefully designed universe where opposing forces serve divine purpose through their very opposition. The theological sophistication of these Ethiopian texts is remarkable. They address questions about evil's origin without resorting to cosmic rebellion narratives. They maintain God's sovereignty without making God the direct author of evil. They explain suffering without requiring angelic falls. Ethiopian Christianity preserved these perspectives for 15 centuries of isolation. While European Christianity developed through councils and crusades, Ethiopian believers maintained ancient traditions in mountain monasteries. They copied manuscripts by hand. They sang liturgies in Ge'ez. They preserved theological perspectives that disappeared elsewhere. The arrival of Portuguese missionaries in the 16th century nearly destroyed this preservation. The Portuguese demanded theological conformity with Roman Catholicism. They declared Ethiopian practices heretical. They burned manuscripts. They forced conversions. For over a century, Ethiopian Christianity survived underground. Emperor Fasilides expelled the Portuguese missionaries in 1632. Ethiopian Christianity emerged from hiding, but damage had been done. Some manuscripts were lost forever. Some traditions were disrupted. The theological wealth of Ethiopian Christianity remained largely unknown to the outside world. Modern scholarship is only beginning to appreciate what Ethiopia preserved. The Institute of Ethiopian Studies at Addis Ababa University houses thousands of Ge'ez manuscripts. International scholars are digitizing these texts. They're discovering theological perspectives that challenge fundamental assumptions about early Christianity. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church claims to preserve the earliest forms of Christian worship. Their liturgy includes elements that disappeared elsewhere centuries ago. Their calendar differs from both Eastern and Western traditions. Their theological perspectives remained unchanged by medieval European developments. Recent archaeological discoveries support these claims. Excavations at Beta Georgis and other Aksumite sites reveal Christian symbols dating to the 4th century. These symbols predate many European Christian artifacts. They suggest that Ethiopian Christianity developed independently from Roman traditions. The preservation of these ancient texts raises profound questions. What other theological perspectives did early Christianity embrace? How much diversity existed before orthodoxy was standardized? What wisdom was lost when alternative traditions were suppressed? Ethiopian Christianity offers a window into this lost diversity. Their manuscripts preserve voices that were silenced elsewhere. Their traditions maintain practices that disappeared from other churches. Their theology presents alternatives to questions that Western Christianity considers settled. The story of Lucifer's fall may indeed never have happened, at least not in the way most Christians understand it. The Ethiopian scriptural tradition suggests that what we call evil serves divine purpose from the beginning. Angels didn't fall through pride. They either remain in their assigned roles or never existed as rebels at all. This isn't heresy in Ethiopian tradition. This is ancient Christian theology preserved in its original form. The question isn't whether these perspectives are correct. The question is why they disappeared from Christianity elsewhere. What happened to the theological diversity that once characterized the early church? The monasteries of Ethiopia continue their ancient work. Monks still climb ropes to reach Debre Damo. Priests still chant liturgies in Ge'ez. Scholars still copy manuscripts by hand. They preserve not just texts, but entire ways of understanding divine reality. As Western Christianity grapples with questions about evil's origin, Ethiopian tradition offers ancient answers. These answers don't require cosmic rebellions or fallen angels. They suggest that opposition and testing serve divine purpose from creation's beginning. They propose that what we call evil might be a necessary component of spiritual development. The implications extend beyond theology. If opposition serves divine purpose, how should believers respond to suffering? If testing strengthens faith, what's the appropriate attitude toward trials? If evil itself serves God's plan, how does that change human responsibility? Ethiopian Christianity has wrestled with these questions for over 1,500 years. Their answers, preserved in Ge'ez manuscripts and monastic traditions, offer wisdom that mainstream Christianity has largely ignored. These perspectives deserve serious consideration, not dismissal as exotic curiosities. The secret scriptures of Ethiopia aren't secret because they're hidden. They're secret because they've been ignored. The theological treasures of Ethiopian Orthodox tradition remain largely unexplored by Western scholarship. Their perspectives on angels, demons, and divine purpose challenge assumptions that most Christians never question. What other treasures remain buried in Ethiopian monasteries? What other theological perspectives await discovery? How might these ancient Christian traditions reshape modern understanding of faith, evil, and divine purpose? The mountains of Ethiopia guard answers to questions that Christianity thought it had settled centuries ago. The story of Lucifer's fall may be just the beginning. Ethiopian Christianity preserved alternatives to almost every major theological question. Their manuscripts contain different perspectives on creation, salvation, divine nature, and human purpose. Each text offers windows into the diverse world of early Christian thought. As scholars continue digitizing Ethiopian manuscripts, more revelations await. The theological landscape of early Christianity was far more diverse than most believers realize. Ethiopian tradition preserved this diversity when other churches eliminated it. Their preservation offers modern Christianity a chance to rediscover its own forgotten wisdom. Subscribe to History Off the Map to explore more hidden chapters of human civilization. Like this video if these ancient Ethiopian perspectives challenged your understanding. Share it with anyone interested in the secrets that isolated traditions preserved. What other theological questions do you think Ethiopian Christianity might answer differently? Let us know in the comments below, and let's uncover more of history's hidden treasures together.
History hides more than it reveals. Subscribe to History Off the Map and uncover the untold.